Back to the Western Cape, where we are watching developments there. The ANC says it's all systems go for this year's January 8th statement. As you can see there, we're also tracking some of those arrivals that are currently taking place there at the Mandela Stadium. This is all happening in Khayelitsha. And as you've heard, our colleagues have been painting a picture for us in terms of what is expected, in terms of what the masses that are currently arriving now are expecting from the president's address today. And what we heard is that it's mostly bread and butter issues that are people there, that they want basically addressed for them. And as you can see there, those are some of the arrivals that we're tracking for you from that stadium currently. And as colleague as well, Unathi Bakyashe did say, we're expecting President Cyril Ramaphosa to give that address at around 11 a.m. And as you can see there, former President Khayelitsha has just arrived there at that stadium, and we caught that just in time as the people also continue to trickle into the stadium to make sure that they catch that address by President Cyril Ramaphosa. And this is all the developments that are coming out of the Western Cape, and that is from the Mandela Park Stadium in Khayelitsha. And this is the 113th anniversary celebrations of the ANC, and this is the first, of course, since the party lost its electoral majority in the May 2024 national and provincial elections. And as you've heard there also, with most conversations being steered towards what this actually means for the people on the ground, how does this actually change the lives of people on the ground. There you have it there, former President Khayelitsha there, making his way there to the stage, we'd assume right now. He's just arrived there at the stadium to join in on the celebrations, and this is all happening at the 113th anniversary celebrations of the African National Congress. And our colleagues as well, Samgele Masego, Lula Mamakya, Unathi Bakyashe, all monitoring developments that are coming up on that front as well. And I'm also taken aback to that conversation that we had with our political analyst, Dr. Breakfast, actually, who spoke about the importance of this moment, who spoke about just how important this is to the people that will be coming there to listen to the president speak this morning there. He said that it was very important that the ANC uses this time to reflect and introspect as well on the sidelines of this January 8th statement that will also be delivered. And those are some of the arrivals that continue to trickle in there into the stadium just ahead of that address by President Cyril Ramaphosa. Let's listen into some net sound from there.
Let's take a seat before we can start our formal program. Sikwazi umamela umongameli asikhona kulehlelo. Asihlaleni phansi maqabane, please. Asihlaleni phansi. Yes.
Stadium in Khayelitsha, as you are coming to us now, ANC supporters are enjoying themselves. Some of them are saying it's nice to be here. They are glad that they are here. The Nelson Mandela Park Stadium has a capacity of about 22,000, and the ANC is saying that it is expecting nothing less than that. Some of the supporters that we spoke to that came here are saying that they can't wait to listen to President Cyril Ramaphosa. As you see the visuals live from the Nelson Mandela Park Stadium in Khayelitsha, they are now preparing to start the program. But in the meantime, the DJ is on the disc. The DJ there is playing music, entertaining these crowds of people. Some of them are waving, enjoying themselves, dancing, singing, enjoying this day. It's a beautiful day in Cape Town. The skies are blue, the sun is out, and ANC supporters have come out in large numbers to come here at the Nelson Mandela Park Stadium, enjoying themselves, waiting for the President Cyril Ramaphosa to address them. There are also others that are still coming in. While many are inside, others are still coming in. As the ANC, it is expecting nothing less than 22,000 people to come here. Some of the issues that they want the president to address, especially young people, they want the president to address issues of high unemployment. They want the president to talk as fast as we know that we are expecting metric results to come out, and many of the students, especially those who are coming from previously disadvantaged communities, those students who are coming from poor families, they won't have money to further their studies at higher institutions. So they want the president to address the issue of crime. On the stage, we are seeing on the stage the NEC members, the top brass of the ANC is on the stage, also enjoying themselves. There on the stage, dancing and singing as they are waiting for President Cyril Ramaphosa to address them. This January 8th statement is different from previous January 8th statements in that it's currently happening under the government of national unity, because the ANC lost control of being in government after the May general elections, and now there is a government of national unity. But one thing that the ANC is celebrating, which is different, also different compared to the January 8th statement of last year, is that it's nearly now a year without load shedding. The Minister of Electricity and Energy, Dr. Khayelitsha Ramaphosa, we spoke to him earlier on, where he indicated that they are satisfied with what ESCOM has achieved, but at the same time he's saying that that should be the case anyway, because that's the job of ESCOM to supply electricity. But at the same time he's saying that the interventions that government as well as ESCOM has made are bearing fruits, indicating that they are looking into the issue of electricity tariffs, whereby ESCOM has proposed tariff increase of about of more than 30%, And the minister is saying that although NESA is independent, but that people cannot afford. It's unaffordable. So he has made an undertaking that government is going to intervene and make sure that a tariff that will be approved is a tariff that is reasonable, that can be afforded by people of South Africa, by South Africans, because whether you are poor or you are rich, electricity is expensive to all. On my left-hand side, the ANC flags are flying high at these marquees. And this marquee that we're showing you now, it's for the VIPs. It's VIP people that are sitting here. And yesterday, when we spoke to the first Deputy Secretary General of the ANC, Nomvula Mubonyane, she indicated that their alliance partners are coming. People, their friends from outside South Africa are also coming here to witness the celebrations of this day, and also about 2,700 invited guests confirmed by yesterday that they are coming to witness this huge celebration of the oldest movement in the African continent, which is the ANC. And the party, they spent this week here in Cape Town mobilizing people to come here today to be part of these celebrations. And when we asked them about the reasons for the decline in the support, they indicated that it's because they focused too much on internal matters and alienated some people. For instance, your religious sector, some people felt left out and alienated by the ANC. Some races as well in the province felt alienated by the ANC. They are saying now they have changed. They have changed the script. They want now to go back.
And that's all the euphoria there coming out of the Western Cape. And this is at the Mandela Park Stadium in Khayelitsha, Cape Town. And this is ahead of President Cyril Ramaphosa delivering, if you'd call it, his marching orders for the ANC for the year ahead. As you heard, their colleague Lula Mamakia just also painting a picture for us in terms of what she is seeing, what she is hearing on the ground. We're also tracking some of those arrivals for you there as we see some of the ANC officials continue to arrive at the stadium this hour. And let's just give you a bit of context and a bit of background as we continue to stay there right now. Now, the ANC was formed on the 8th of January of 1912, and this was in Bloemfontein. And when the ANC was established, a critical role was played by various kings and traditional leaders, and not only from South Africa, but from the whole of Southern Africa, some of whom sent representatives to the 1912 meeting because their status prevented them from attending meetings with so-called commoners. And the song or hymn that was sung at the opening of the ANC back in 1912 was Nkosi Sikeleli Africa, or God Bless Africa, by Enoch Sontonga. And I think that has also been a bone of contention to some extent. Now, the people also founded the ANC in the main, received their education in the United States and Britain. And when the ANC adopted its first programmatic statement back in 1925, it was called the African Bill of Rights. As we see there, Baleka Mbete also just arrived there at the stadium at this point in time. Now, and going back to that African so-called Bill of Rights, the statement spoke in terms of the vote of all civilized men, not women, not people, but civilized men. Now, the purpose of ensuring that all ANC members read from the same hymn sheet, doing so ensure that all members of the party, irrespective of their location, carry the same message. And sticking with a background as well as context and a bit of background info on the African National Congress, with the ANC reasserting itself now as the strategic political center, this statement that is happening today looms large on, of course, many parts of society. Now, the statement prefigures what the President's State of the Nation address would entail, as colleague Onati Pakyashe also put it there. Now, with an overwhelming 1.2 million strong members, the gathering for the January 8 statement has metamorphosized into a sort of annual pilgrimage. And at this gathering, the ANC converts and their fellow travelers congregate to receive an, of course, unmediated message and directives from the ANC president, like we're anticipating today. And as you can see there, most officials have started gathering on the stage just ahead of President Cyril Ramaphosa delivering that address. We're told that is all going to be happening at around 11 a.m. today. Now, at all times, the theme of the January 8 statement, usually a call to action, is informed by an appraisal of the internal and external challenges the organization faces. And I think it was one professor we spoke to this morning who actually spoke about the importance of the party going back to the drawing board, going back to introspect and really revisit some of its key pillars and key policies that speak to the hopes, to the dreams, to the aspirations of the people on the ground, what the people will be eating, if the people will have jobs tomorrow. And those are some of the conversations actually that also our reporters on the ground so duly put into context for us when they were speaking to some of the people there in attendance who actually wanted to know what this actually means for them as the people that have gathered this morning to witness the 113th anniversary of the ANC, what this really means for them as the people on the ground. And I think it was also one person that spoke to our very own Lula Mamaki a bit earlier on who said that she was at the stadium this morning, but she doesn't know where her next meal will be coming from. She doesn't have a job currently. And those are some of the bare bread and butter issues that actually come to the fore when you look at such occasions. And it's mostly just people continuing to echo similar sentiments, particularly where bread and butter issues are concerned. And such an analysis enables the ANC to identify and minimize both the weaknesses and the threats it faces, and at the same time, it enables the ANC to exploit the opportunities that are available as it builds itself into a robust machinery. And so much has also been said about the ability for the party to actually move towards building itself to becoming that robust machinery. I think it was one Professor Breakfast who spoke to us this morning who said that for the ANC to really go back to its former glory, it will take a lot. And this will ensure that, it goes back to its former glory, but it would need a top-down approach for the party to introspect. And the condition of freedom has introduced behaviors that the ANC considers alien to its character and culture. It has packaged these as sins of incumbency, and these include careerism, abuse of power, bureaucratic elitism, use of state institutions to fight intra-party conflicts, and social distance between the governors and the governed. Now, in a large measure, aside from economic issues, these are some of the issues that preoccupied the elective conference of the ANC. And as we continue to also reflect on some of the conversations that are being had there, in summary, this statement sets the tone for things to come. And that is all the excitement, as you can see there on your screen, coming out of the stadium right now. You see a police helicopter also hovering around, because I think it was throughout the build-up to the ceremony that we heard that security certainly will be tight to ensure that everything goes smooth. Now, the statement would also use the opportunity to celebrate structures that have done well. We've seen the various ANC structures on the ground as a build-up to the elections last year and as a build-up to the 118th anniversary birthday celebrations. We've seen most NEC members actually also hard on the ground, trying to mobilize support, trying to garner support, trying to woo people to make their way to the stadium today, as they will be getting their marching orders from the president of the ANC, Cyril Ramaphosa. And we are also told that this is a practice that encourages structures of the ANC to work hard in changing the lives of the people. So the ANC is not about mediocrity, as pointed out by most of its critics. And that is the statement that we're also getting. And also just to backtrack a bit, as we continued with a build-up to today throughout the course of this morning. It was one of the people actually that spoke on our sister show, Morning Live, that also spoke about some of the issues that they go through on the day-to-day, and just how important such a day as this one actually is. And we also heard how people have actually made their way from different provinces to make their way to the stadium to listen to President Cyril Ramaphosa today. Now, and of course, the ANC has been the country's governing party, supported by its tripartite alliance with the Congress of South African Trade Unions, COSATU, the South African Communist Party, the SACP, and the South African National Civics Organization, SANCO, since the establishment of majority rule back in May of 1994. And so many conversations have also been had on this front. And I know our colleagues are, monitoring all these developments that are currently happening there on the ground, as we also continue to monitor some of those arrivals that are happening there at the Mandela Stadium there in Khayelitsha. And so much has been said also about the choice of venue when it comes to the ruling party. Why take it there? And while the party said that it was time that they show that they are in touch and in tune with what the people on the ground want, and that is why they felt that it was very important to take this celebration to the people, which is exactly why they opted for the Mandela Park Stadium. And so many conversations have also been had in terms of the party's positioning as well. And a lot remains to be said about that as well. But of course, our colleagues that are on the ground will be bringing us up to speed with some of those conversations that are also making the rounds there on the ground. Let's listen in to what's happening now in the stadium.
Come kill one, you're my son. Come kill one, you're my son. I'm Buzo one, who my mom. I'm Missy Jane, hey kitchen. I'm Buzo one, who tatwam. But in beginning, hey Kati. Come get lucky. Wakalimaki, Etepe, what is Pelani? Estragi, Sam Chelagu, Namasa, a revolution, conclusion. Let's toy, come none. Let's toy, hey, Kaigi, yo, Skumbule, hey, Kaigi, yo, Skumbule, go kill it, yo, Skumbule, go kill it, yo, Skumbule, hey, Kaigi, yo, Skumbule, hey, Kaigi, yo, Skumbule, Papa, yo, Skumbule, Papa, yo, Skumbule, hey, Kaigi, yo, Skumbule, hey, Kaigi, yo, Skumbule, go kill it, yo, Skumbule, go kill it, Yo 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 skungule kaide. Yo 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 skungule kaide. Yo 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 skungule kaide. Abasebenzi yo 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 skungule kaide. 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 Yo 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 skungule kaide.
Bambisandla sami. Bambisandla sami mutala. Hold hands with respect to Oliver Tambo, Comrade Lionel.
Bambisandla sami mutala, Sandla seva mesekine. Bambisandla Oliver Tambo. Bambisandla sam Tambo. Bambisandla sam muta. Bambisandla seva mesekine. Bambisandla Oliver Tambo. Bambisandla sam Tambo.
Hold hands! Hold hands!
Segunze menemba. Bambisandla seva meumasiye. Bambisandla Oliver Tambo.
Hold your hands! Hold your hands! Hush!
Tambo. Segunze menemba. Bambisandla seva meumasiye.
There you have it. It's all in song, it's all in dance, as, of course, a precursor to the president of the ANC giving the marching orders. And this will all happen there at the Mandela Park Stadium in Khayelitsha, Cape Town, today, as the ANC marks 113 years in existence. Now, these anniversary celebrations will be the first for the ANC since the party lost its electoral majority in the May 2024 national and provincial elections. Now, the former liberation movement also goes into these celebrations under intense pressure from alliance partner, the South African Communist Party, over the government of national unity with the Democratic Alliance and other opposition parties. And we continue there to also give you just a bit of background and a bit of context a bit earlier on in the form of these pointers that were compiled for us right here on the show, where we spoke about the various elements as well as many aspects that the people that are making their way to the stadium expect to be touched on by the president when he makes his way there to the stadium to deliver his marching orders. And of course, we understand SABC News' politics editor Mzwandile Mbeje is on standby to talk to us. And Mzwa, if the visuals that we're seeing this side are anything to go by, I would say that the celebrations have really started.
Absolutely, Mxolisi. The celebrations are in full force, and there is a number of guests here who have come to attend this event. And as I'm speaking to you now, Mxolisi, the representative from the PLO, Palestinian Liberation Organization, is coming to speak to us just to get some reflection. You know what has been happening in Palestine. It's quite an important event. So here he is. How are you, sir? To you. This is SABC News, the public broadcaster. So just your name and surname, and then you tell us why are you here and why is it important for you?
I'm here to celebrate with our great people, South African people, and to appreciate them and to express our thanks as a Palestinian people all over the world to South Africa, to the leader of South Africa, the Parliament of South Africa, the public of South Africa, the ladies and the men of South Africa for support our just cause. We appreciate that. And I came in here to thank you all and to keep this in your mind is Palestine is free by your support and the other people's support who believe in injustice and anti-apartheid. And you have that experience before. I hope one day you're gonna share with us our celebration for the free of Palestine. Thank you.
So do you feel South Africa is mobilizing the world sufficiently to get behind the Palestinian cause?
Yes, 100%. We depend on South Africa. South Africa is a great country. And don't forget too, she is the part of the BRICS, and that it helps a lot. And that's why we are here as a brother and to support each other on just cause and freedom only. We don't need to insult nobody like the late, God bless his soul, Mr. Mandela. They put him 27 years in jail, and he don't let anybody lay his hand on the other people and on the other body. We have the same philosophy, and we have the strong faith with our principles to live in peace. What we ask for, just to have our own independent state with the respect of the others. And that is gonna happen when, with the support of South Africa and the other countries who like South Africa. And thank you, South Africa. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Just your name again so that our viewers know who we're speaking to. Your name again?
Excuse me?
Your name? It's fine, so I'll get it afterwards. Don't worry. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. Well, Mxolisi, it's too noisy here. The representatives of the Palestinian People's Liberation Organization has just said South Africa has been very good in terms of providing support, and they are here to show that kind of support as well.
And Mzwai, I'm hoping that you can hear us there. I know you'll be grappling with the noise as well. You know, so much has been said as a build-up to today's celebration, but words that keep resurfacing right now is this is also just a time for the ANC to reflect and introspect. Is that what you've also been hearing on that end? Okay, Mzwai, let's give it a bash again. Hopefully you can hear me this time around. You know, as a build-up to the celebrations there as well, we've been hearing so many conversations that this is not just the 113th birthday celebration, but it is also a time to reflect and introspect for the ANC. Is that what you've been hearing that side as well?
Absolutely, and there appears to be this sense of pride once again. I don't know whether it's because of the nature of the mobilization or it's because of the reality that has sunk that if the ANC is not doing what is right, so South Africans have sounded an alarm to say, you've got to do what is right. I mean, when you are interacting with a number of individuals here at the stadium, I mean, people are saying the ANC has a bigger role to play, and it's about time they played that bigger role as the leader of society. And then, of course, it's just not about words, it's about implementation. The fact that it's been able to invite a number of international organizations, people still believe, even on the African continent, that the ANC can still lead this country. But it will be very interesting, really, to hear from the president. So what exactly he's going to say as the marching orders to South Africans and, of course, to the broader African continent and the world. Remember, South Africa will be chairing BRICS summit this year, so which really elevates the role of South Africa in the international affairs. I mean, to see the guests, the number of guests that are attending really does tell you that perhaps this country has a unique and a special place in the community of the world in terms of it playing a leading role.
And also, here's the thing, Mzwai, as we continue to have this conversation, throughout the course of the morning, you now actually speak about the party playing what you call a bigger role. What do you see that bigger role being, especially when you also mention that most of the conversations are being steered to bread and butter issues, as to what would ugogo in Ukopo be eating tomorrow, and what does this mean for the person that is actually attending to listen in on what the president will be saying today?
Well, if you are the governing party or part of the governing parties, or if you model yourself as the leader of society, people will always look up to you for direction. So that is why that question is very key today. So will it be able to rise up to that challenge to provide direction as the leader of society? Of course, we operate in a very totally different political environment. We are seeing the realignment of politics in this country, particularly from the left. The key alliance or alliance partner of the ANC, the SABC, has basically said we are going it alone come 2026. So what does that do to the broader realignment of politics in this country? So if you are the ANC and you still see yourself as the majority party, so what sort of role are you going to make sure that even if the SACP is now out competing on its own, but people still believe you? Because you see, there's a lot that can be read into what is happening into this realignment. So those who are not necessarily happy with the current trajectory of the ANC may see parties like the SACP perhaps as the alternative, because there will be those individuals who still believe in the bigger Congress movement but can't find themselves to vote for any other party other than the parties aligned to the Congress movement. So when you then start to have the option of a party like the SACP, so it makes it even more interesting. But then the central question is, as the leader of the alliance, is it something that you will be comfortable with? So what is it that you are going to do? Because these are happening because the alliance has been basically saying we want it reconfigured, but it's not been happening. So these are realignments that we are seeing partly is because of, in inverted commas, the refusal of the ANC to reconfigure the alliance so that it can be seen to be serving everyone equally.
Okay, that's politics editor Mzwandile Mbeje joining us there as we continue to look forward to that all-important address by President Cyril Ramaphosa, which we were told, by the way, is expected around 11 a.m. But also, let's continue to give you a brief history in the form of these slides that we have compiled for you, rather. The ANC was formed as the South African Native National Congress to advocate for Black South Africans' rights. Now, the ANC has been South Africa's governing party since 1994, backed by its tripartite alliance with COSATU, the SACP, and SANCO. Now, in February of 1990, the government lifted the ban on the ANC, freed Nelson Mandela and other political prisoners, allowing the ANC to openly recruit and establish regional structures. And also staying with a fact box also that we have for you, it was formed on the 8th of January back in 1912, and this happened in Bloemfontein. Now, the ANC defines itself as a disciplined force of the left, and I think Professor Breakfast also spoke about this at length throughout our conversation and throughout his analysis during the course of the morning right here on the agenda. And when the ANC was established in 1912, various kings and traditional leaders from Southern Africa played a key role in the ANC's establishment. And when the ANC was established in 1912, various kings and traditional leaders from Southern Africa played a key role in the ANC's establishment. And sticking with that as well, the ANC Women's League was established back in 1943, and the ANC Youth League was established in 1944, and ANC and other organizations were banned in 1960. Now, the ANC took up arms against the apartheid South African government in 1961 with the creation of Umkhonto weSizwe, also known as the Spear of the Nation. Now, at the historic 1969 Morogoro conference back in Tanzania, ANC membership was open to all race groups for the first time, and the ANC Youth League was established in 1944. Now, the ANC Veterans League was established back in 2009, and since its establishment in 1912, there have been 4 main splinter parties from the ANC. Back in 1959, the UDM in 1997, COPE in 2008, and the EFF in 2013. And the ANC is Africa's oldest liberation movement, what we're being told as well. So let's look at the list of past presidents of the ANC. I think it was Professor Breakfast that also spoke about this and spoke about the caliber and the crop of leaders that the ANC has seen over the years. I mean, we talk about the likes of John Nangalbalele Dube from 1912 to 1917, Sefako Makgato from 1917 to 1924, and he also spoke about, some of the notable and key leaders that have steered the ANC ship over the past couple of years, as we head over now. Fast forward to 2024, and greater conversations are also being had in terms of the direction the party has taken, in terms of the party speaking to the hopes, the dreams, the aspirations of the people on the ground. And that is one word that keeps resurfacing when we speak to people on the ground, when our colleagues continue there in conversation with the people that are gathered there to listen to President Cyril Ramaphosa. They want to know, how does this moment change their lives?